Just Cause 2 is a 2010 action-adventure game developed by Avalanche Studios and published by Square Enix. It follows Rico Rodriguez, a major operative of the fictional agency. His job is to overthrow the dictator of Panau. To do this, you have to fight against hostile militants and blow up a lot of stuff. But the question is, can I get every single achievement in Just Cause 2? So I appreciate you clicking on this video, and if you haven't already, please click the subscribe button, and let's see if I can get every single achievement. We start the first level of Just Cause 2 jumping out of an airplane, heading down to a stronghold that's being attacked by the rebels. Once on the ground, we start to take out all of the guards that are defending this stronghold. This is all in an attempt to overrun it and have it as our own. Whilst running around this stronghold, we commit our first bit of chaos. Chaos is the main goal of this game. Chaos is caused by destroying objects throughout the world of Just Cause 2. Most of the main chaos objects are designed in a red colour just to make them extra clear to see. When you cause your first bit of chaos for the first time, you'll get the achievement First Taste of Chaos. Continuing through the stronghold, we're now tasked with collecting a bunch of memory cards so that we can get full access to the stronghold. The first few are scattered throughout the stronghold, whilst the final one is being held by a soldier who we have to kill to get. Once all the memory cards have been acquired, we now need to take the SAM turrets out so we can get air support in. I thought the best way to do this would be to use a minigun. With the SAM turrets now destroyed, air support is able to get in and we're able to grapple onto a helicopter to escape. This gets us the first story mission achievement of the game, Welcome to Panau. Next up, I decided to go straight into the second mission of Just Cause 2. In this mission, we need to head to the casino to rescue someone that's going to be very helpful in our cause against the government. When we get to the casino, there is a heavy military presence outside, so we have to fight our way to actually get into the casino itself. We now need to get up to the top of the casino, and the best way to do this is using our grapple hook. Once at the top of the casino, we now need to disarm some breaching charges, which have been placed to kill the target that you have to help get out of this area. Unfortunately, the military don't really like that we've disarmed their breaching charges, so they send an attack helicopter to take us out. Thankfully, with any vehicle in this game, you can hijack them and use them yourself, so that's exactly what we need to do.
Don't take no passengers.
We can now use this helicopter to take down any military presence that's in the area, such as another attack helicopter. Now that we have the target out of the casino, it's now time to escape the military themselves and get them to a safe place. Unfortunately, there's quite a few military vehicles following you, so you have to jump on top of the car yourself and shoot at them and using your grapple hook to get rid of them and protect yourself. Eventually, you'll get to the safe house, completing this mission, getting you the achievement, Casino Bust. Again, it's time to jump into the next story mission of the game. In this story mission, we have to take over a stronghold. Strongholds are big areas where the rebel groups will hunker down and give you support from. For each of the 3 rebel groups, there's a bunch of these scattered throughout the entire map, and if you've done enough chaos, you'll then be able to unlock one of these missions. They all follow the same sort of structure of escorting someone to a certain area so they can perform a certain task, and then you unlock the area. Whilst doing this, there's obviously a lot of guards attacking you and a lot of defences to take down. Whilst also in strongholds, there'll also be a lot of destructible objects to take out. In any town, stronghold or city, you can 100% the area. To do this, you have to destroy all of the destructible items in that area and collect any of the collectibles. Whilst escorting the person to the area, I thought this was a perfect opportunity to destroy some of the defences and objects. In doing this, I was able to destroy 30 objects in 60 seconds, getting me the achievement, Destruction Frenzy. After creating enough chaos and completing various side missions, I then got enough to be able to do my next faction mission of taking over another stronghold. Once again, as mentioned earlier, just the same sort of thing of escorting a person to an area for them to do a task, which then unlocks the stronghold. This time, when we get to the final area where we have to protect this person, a stronghold commander comes in a helicopter and we have to take it down. Thankfully, we have a minigun. Once this stronghold commander has been taken down, we get the achievement, Gaining a Footing, for taking over 3 strongholds. It's now time to complete the third story mission of the game, which is titled The White Tiger. To start this mission, we have to rescue someone called Pang, who's set to be executed.
Now, my old friend, we shall part ways.
Stop right there! Please, mister.
Now that Pang has been rescued from the executioner, you now have to escort him to a hideout so he can tell you where the White Tiger is located. Once you get to the hideout, you realise that the data that you need to find the White Tiger is being held by a colonel. Colonels are a type of enemy in Just Cause that are heavily armoured. The best way to kill these is just to aim for headshots and just keep hitting them in the face basically. Eventually you'll do enough damage to kill them, and in this time they also dropped the data drive.
We got him on the run!
Using this data, you're easily able to find the White Tiger, otherwise known as Tom Sheldon. When you get to the location that he's at, you also work out that the military has also worked out this location too. This means that you're under a major ambush and have to help Tom Sheldon take them all down.
There's some major players on the bench, and they sure as hell ain't low. Hey, get back here! Stop.
Once you've managed to defend yourselves from all of the oncoming military, you end Mission 3, getting the achievement, the White Tiger. Two of the key gadgets that you've got in your inventory at any point of time in Just Cause 2 are your parachute and your grapple hook. Using these, you're able to traverse Panau very easily and even combine them with actions to take down the military. Panau is quite a mountainy area, so often you'll find yourself having to climb over quite a lot of hills and mountains. If you're able to travel 300 meters above from where you start in one parachute using the grapple hook, you get the achievement Parachute Climber. In Just Cause 2, there are a bunch of achievements related to difficulties, the hardest of these being Heroic difficulty. This therefore means that I've been playing the game on Heroic up to this point, meaning that it's definitely a lot more tricky than if you were playing on the easiest difficulty. Unfortunately, there are a couple of achievements that are related to this that become much more difficult, one of these being Invincible Warrior. To do this, you just have to kill 50 enemies without losing any health. Obviously, on the easiest difficulty, this is quite easy, as the enemy's accuracy isn't very good. But on Heroic, it's definitely a lot trickier. Fortunately, during another one of these Stronghold missions, I went on a bit of a roll of taking down the enemies before they even saw me, and was able to kill 50 without losing any health, unlocking me the achievement, Invincible Warrior. Alongside killing 50 enemies without taking any damage, there's another achievement for killing 50 enemies with headshots. The way that shooting works in this game is you sort of just point it towards someone and it auto locks onto that person. From here you can then kind of guide where you want the bullets to go, so if you aim more towards the heads, you're more likely to get a headshot. Eventually you'll kill enough enemies to unlock the achievement Marksman. Story Mission 4 follows us trying to rescue one of the members of our gang from a mountain base. They're being held captive by the military and the government, attempting to get the answers on what the rebels are up to, so we have to go and rescue them before it's too late. To get into the base where the person is being held captive, we have to destroy 4 vent stations. These are all being heavily guarded by the military, so we have to fight our way through there, get into there, and then use explosions to take each of the systems out. Eventually, when all 4 of the ventilation stations have been destroyed, you're able to make your way to the entrance. Strangely, when you get to the entrance, you get ambushed by a bunch of ninjas. Not really too sure why the government of Panau are using ninjas, but you get attacked by them. After taking down the ninjas, the hostage is taken away and it's your job now to hunt them down again and hijack the vehicle where the hostage is being held. Using your grapple hook and your parachute, you make it very easily down to the car and hijack it. And now that you've successfully hijacked the vehicle and saved the hostage, the mission ends, getting you the achievement Mountain Rescue. One of the main collectibles in this game are resource items. Resource items are used to upgrade vehicles and weapons, as well as giving you boosts to your health and money. These are scattered all around the map, and some of them are pretty difficult to find. Alongside them just being found around the map, you'll also unlock these for completing missions, races, and other challenges. Eventually, you'll collect your 100th resource item, and you'll get the achievement Finders Keepers. After continually causing more and more chaos throughout Panau, we find ourselves on another faction mission where we're taking over a stronghold. Obviously with this, we have to take down many more enemies. At this point, we must have taken a good chunk out the population of Panau as we reach 750 kills, unlocking us the achievement Body Count. After taking down my 750th enemy, I continue to fight through this stronghold, once again being left with the final enemy of it being the stronghold commander, once again in a helicopter. This time, instead of using a minigun, I decide to hijack the helicopter itself, as I assume the fool will probably take out the commander. I assume correctly, and when he hits the ground, I've completed my 9th stronghold takeover, unlocking the achievement Conqueror of Panau. This is now every single stronghold unlocked in Panau. It's now time for Story Mission 5, 3 Kings. In this level, you have to head to a hotel which is split into 3 buildings. In each of these 3 buildings, you'll find a different nationality who wants a bit of Panau's action, and it's your job to take down each of these 3 enemies. The first of these is Zhang Sun. This is just a simple, shoot him as many times as you can and avoid his attacks, because otherwise you'll die. Eventually you'll kill him, and this is the first of the 3 towers completed. Next up is the Russian Alexander Murkov. For some reason, he's got a tank on top of this hotel. How and why, I don't really know, but fair play to him at the end of the day. This is a lot more difficult than the previous enemy due to the tank doing a ridiculous amount of damage. There's also a bunch of claymores scattered around the tank, so you can't get close to it either. I found that the best way to take it down was hide in these little set of stairs and then use explosives to take it down. Just be careful for all the enemies that will soon push it. Eventually, you'll do enough damage and destroy the tank, killing him.
Mother Russia eat boys like you for breakfast. Let's finish.
The final of the 3 enemies is located in his suite. He's not decided to fight Rico one-on-one, but instead tried to get his men to do it. Fortunately for us, these aren't very difficult to kill, and eventually you'll make your way down to the outside of his suite. You can't actually get inside it, so instead you have to use explosives to blow up the door. This will then also kill Washio. After taking down the final and 3rd member of this little trio, you then finish the mission, getting the achievement 3 Kings. Scattered around the entirety of Panau are around 100 different types of vehicle. These can be cars, planes, helicopters, or boats. I have to admit that whilst travelling around Panau, I didn't drive very often because the driving mechanics aren't the best and it's much quicker just to use your parachute and grappling hook. Eventually, whilst playing through the game, completing the missions and causing chaos, you'll use your 30th different type of vehicle. This unlocks the achievement Test Driver. Another combat related achievement is Killing Frenzy. To get this, you have to kill 20 enemies in 60 seconds. Again, on easier difficulties, this is probably pretty easy to do and you'll do much earlier than I did. However, on heroic, it took a little while for me to get. In one of the missions throughout the game, you have to defend a certain point where enemies just come wave by wave. At one point, they just sort of line up and you can take them out pretty quickly, and this was the perfect opportunity to get this achievement. When you reach the 20th kill in this 60-second period, the achievement will unlock. Also around this point in the game, you'll have found many places scattered across Panau. These will be docks, cities, towns, villages, bases, just all sorts really. Throughout the entirety of Panau, there are 368 places, so when you get to that 100th, you'll unlock the achievement Globetrotter. You don't actually have to do anything in these towns, you can just pass by them, fly over them, or go in and 100% them. It doesn't really matter. Now it's time to move on to the final story mission of the game. In this, we now have to choose which faction we're going to pair up with to take over Panau. For this, I chose the Reapers, so you just have to head over to them and let them know. Once paired up with the Reapers, we're now sent out to take down the dictator who is running Panau into the ground. He's hidden in his final base, which is being protected by anti-aircraft guns that we need to take down to get the remainder of the troops in to help the final push. Eventually, we'll find the last one and destroy that, enabling all the remainder of the troops to continue the assault. After taking down these turrets, you can now go further into the complex and head towards Panay's personal quarters, in the hope to find the dictator making his last stand. Tom Sheldon then joins you and for some reason sacrifices himself with a grenade to take him and Panay out.
Get that grenade away from me. Throw it away.
With the dictator presumed dead, the dome has now been set into self-destruct mode, so it's time to escape before it blows up and kills you. Fighting your way out, you narrowly escape, and this finishes this mission of the story. This unlocks the penultimate story achievement of Into the Den. This then goes into the final story mission of the game. With the dictator presumed dead, all of the other nationalities are going for this oil, including some bad guys. These obviously are the Russians. They're all trying to beat each other to control Panau so they can control the oil, so it's down to Rico to stop all of them. Whilst heading towards the oil field and getting very near to it, a giant submarine appears out of nowhere, and it's Rico's job to get inside and see what the hell is going on. When in the submarine, you discover that the dictator somehow survived. I'm not really too sure, because he was right next to somebody who was blowing up a grenade, and then the entire building that he was in also blew up, so he's done very, very well there, to be fair. It's now time to kill him once and for all, so you get into a bit of a gunfight where he's got a rocket launcher firing at you. Although you eventually do enough damage, it doesn't kill him, and once again he escapes.
You stink of excrement, you big pig!
After following the dictator once again, you discover that he sent off 3 nuclear missiles for America. Again, I really don't know how he's still alive, but fair play to him. It's now your job, on top of taking out the dictator, to take down these missiles before they impact America and kill a lot of people. Jumping from missile to missile and shooting at the dictator, you're finally able to take both of them out, leaving him on the last one.
Too bad for Uncle Sheldon. Great! The Japanese...
You then jump to the final nuke and deal with the dictator for the last time, and this time he should definitely be dead.
New target acquired.
What are you doing with the guidance system?
Oh, just a few minor changes.
This then finishes Just Cause 2 and unlocks a bunch of achievements. The first of these achievements is a Just Cause just for finishing Story Mission 7. You then unlock Heroic, Top and Legendary Agent for beating the game on Heroic difficulty. Now that the main story is finished, it's time to go around the rest of Panau mopping up all of the collectibles and creating as much chaos as possible to get to 75% completion in this game. To start this off, I started all the different military bases, airports and docks, as this has the most opportunities to create chaos. Whilst doing this, I completed my 100th sabotage. I think this is just my 100th time of blowing something up, but I'm not 100% sure. This unlocked the achievement, Saboteur. As mentioned previously in the video, when you go to any of these locations around the map, you can 100% them. To do this, you have to destroy all the destroyable objects in this area and collect all of the collectibles. Once you've travelled around these areas and completed all of these different tasks, you'll then 100% the area. When you're able to do this for the 15th time, you'll unlock the achievement Free Roamer 1. Some of these little villages are easy to get this achievement on, as there'll only be a couple of collectibles and that's it. So it's a pretty easy achievement to get. Alongside using the grappling hook to navigate through Panau, you can also use it as a weapon. The best time to do this is when you see an enemy at a height. If you target the enemy and then press LB and use the grappling hook, you'll pull them towards you and sometimes pull them off the ledge that they're on. Therefore, if they're high enough, it will then kill them. Once you do this for the 30th time, you'll get the achievement, Gravity is a Bitch. After collecting enough chaos by completing all of the main missions and liberating all of the cities, villages and bases, as well as completing the challenges, we finally have unlocked the final side mission. After then completing this final side mission, you'll have completed all 49 of them. This unlocks the achievement, A Trusted Ally, and we've completed this aspect of the game. As mentioned, another thing that you need to get the percentage up quicker and quicker are races. These can be using planes, cars or boats, so there's quite a bit of variation. Due to them a lot being by vehicle, it means this gives you the perfect opportunity to get your kilometers up. Once you've driven 100 kilometers, you'll get the achievement Road Trip. I imagine a lot of people have got this achievement a lot earlier, but as mentioned previously, I spent the majority of this game travelling either by helicopter or the grapple hook and parachute. At this point, the main grind is just trying to get to that 75% mark. This means that every single village, city and base that I come across, I need to try and get 100% on. As mentioned previously, some of these are easier to do than others, as some require more things to collect. Eventually though, you'll just keep getting through more and more and more, and at one point you'll reach your 100th location that's achieved 100%. Thankfully, there's an achievement linked to this, and that's Free Roamer 2, which you'll unlock at this time. races, and these are land, air and sea. Alongside this, there's also free falling challenges, but these are very, very difficult, so I avoided these pretty much throughout the entire time. Thankfully, there's enough of these challenges in the game that you don't actually have to do every single one, so these can just be avoided. When you've completed your first 10 challenges, you'll get the achievement up to the challenge 1. Whilst exploring Panau, you'll continue to pick up more and more resource items. Eventually, you'll pick up your 100th and get the achievement, Leave No Rock Unturned. Whilst continually pushing forward to that 75% completion, I just kept destroying more and more and more things. This then meant I got the achievement Destroyer for completing 1000 different sabotages. With all this grinding of completing the side missions, the collectibles, killing enemies, creating chaos, I think it was only right to be rewarded for doing this much. Thankfully, you get an achievement for getting to 50% completion in the game. This is halfway there, which is pretty aptly titled. The only downside is it does make it feel like a long time until you get to that 75% completion, but we'll keep grinding towards that. Another sort of stat that you'll get as you play throughout the game are stunt driver points. You get these by completing jumps in the car and landing them, driving at very high speeds, and very other stunt driver-esque abilities and challenges that you complete. The easiest way to get these is definitely by doing the challenge races and just driving at a very high speed, as they'll soon tick up, and you'll be able to see that in the top of the screen. Eventually, you'll get to 100 stunt driver points and unlock the achievement Stunt Driver. In some of the cities and military bases, you'll find colonels. As mentioned previously, these are very heavily armoured enemies that can be quite difficult to kill. You basically just have to aim for headshots and hope that you hit a few shots, and it'll do a decent amount of damage. Also, they'll also have heavy weapons, so can do a lot of damage, as well as having a group of mercenaries around them protecting them. As you can see in this clip, a great way of killing them is getting an attack helicopter and just blowing them to smithereens. Once you do this 25 times, you'll get the achievement Professional Hitman. Completing races is a great way to get the percentage up, as it gives you around 0.45%, I think, if I can remember correctly. This is compared to quite minimal percentages when you're blowing stuff up and collecting collectibles, so it's definitely worth doing. Eventually, you'll have completed your 50th race. This will unlock the achievement up to the challenge 2. This is the last race-related achievement, so you don't have to do any more, but like I said, it is very handy to do them to continue getting that percentage up. Please Step Out of the Vehicle is the next achievement that I got in this game. To get this, you just have to hijack 50 vehicles. When you attempt to get into any vehicle in this game that's controlled by an enemy, you have to do a little mini game to get in there. It's not very difficult, and you get quite a bit of time to do the quick time prompts. Once you've done this for the 50th time, you'll unlock the achievement, so it's a pretty easy one to get. Alongside all of the weapons that you can use, such as the guns, explosives, and vehicles as well, you can also use melee. Whenever you attack anyone with your melee weapon, it's your grapple hook, which can also do quite a lot of damage, so it's handy to use when you need to reload or run out of ammo. Although this is the case, when you're playing on heroic difficulty, it's not the best as you take a lot of damage. But if you manage to kill 50 enemies using melee attacks, you will get the achievement Unarmed and Dangerous.
Let's finish this.
Eventually, after a lot of grinding, travelling from place to place, destroying stuff, collecting things, I finally reached 75% completion in this game. This unlocks the achievement Perfectionist, and I no longer have to worry about the grind. I just have to mop up the final few achievements. There is a way of doing it where you've played the game on heroic difficulty and then put it into the easiest difficulty and just start again and try and get to that 75%, but I couldn't be bothered because I was already at about 30%, so just did this on heroic. That being said, it probably is a lot easier just putting it on beginner once you've done that and just zooming through, as you can just fly around with a helicopter and just destroy everything without taking any real damage. There's no right way of doing it, but I thought I'd just let you know. For each of the factions, there are faction items. These are skulls, drug drops, and black boxes. These are scattered all across the map and are shown on the map by a little blue circle. It isn't massively accurate to where it is, but it does give you a good idea, so if you travel there, you might get the indicator if you're close enough. You will get a decent amount of completion percentage for doing these, so I would recommend picking them up when you're near. For one of them, they're at the top of this mountain, so I was travelling up there to get it, but it also turned out that this is the highest point in Panau. This meant that I got 2 achievements: Top of the World for getting to the highest point, and also Faction Benefactor for collecting 150 faction items.
Look, Ma! I said.
Another combat-related achievement you can get in Just Cause 2 is Juggler. To get this, you just have to kill 30 enemies whilst they're flying through the air. This sounds like it could be difficult, but it's really not. Using the faction resources, you can upgrade your guns so they do a hell of a lot of damage. From here, then just use the grapple hook on any enemy, pulling them towards you, and they'll go flying in the air. Then just simply shoot them. Repeat this over and over again, and you'll eventually get to 30 kills. Even if you're not going for the achievement, it's definitely a good way to kill enemies, as it stops them from shooting back at you. As mentioned earlier, vehicles are also a great killing method. Running people over in any game is always good fun, and it's always pretty effective. That's even more the case if you're driving a massive vehicle like a tank or a big jeep or something like that. After you run over 30 enemies with vehicles, you'll unlock the achievement Road Rage. The ability to use the grappling hook opens up many possibilities for killing enemies. Another one of these is attaching an enemy using the grapple hook to the back of your vehicle and driving at a decent speed. Although it's not something you do very often, it is very effective. This wasn't a method that I'd use playing the game, as it's not something I really thought of. However, looking at the achievements, it did make me think actually this could have been a great method. Once you do this 5 times and kill 5 different enemies, you'll unlock the achievement Follow Me. Moving away from the combat-related achievements, it's now time to get the achievement I Believe I Can Fly. In a mission, which I believe is called Mile High Club, you'll find yourself fighting against enemies on a blimp. Obviously, as it's a blimp, it's very, very high up in the sky. This means it's a perfect opportunity to jump off of and do a massive base jump. For this achievement, you just have to base jump 1,000 meters, so it all lines up to be absolutely perfect. Fast travel over to this location on the east side of the map, get on top of it, and then jump off and just watch the ticker go by until you get to 1,000 meters, and then pull the parachute, and that will unlock the achievement. Low Flyer requires you to fly an enemy close to the ground for 30 seconds. This can be quite difficult as the ground isn't always flat, so you have to find yourself jumping up and over certain bits of terrain. There are, however, quite a few little rivers scattered throughout Panau. If you find one of these, they're usually pretty straight with only a couple of turns, and they're very, very flat. Just jump in an airplane, fly very low, and just keep an eye on the little ticker in the top corner, which will soon tell you 30 seconds. This will then unlock the achievement for you. Another way to kill enemies using the grapple hook is by hanging them from the ceiling and then attacking them. Again, this basically means that they can't do anything and you get a free shot at them. This again is not a method I thought of until I looked through the achievements. If you then, instead of using a gun, use your grapple hook melee attack, this then counts as a piñata kill. Obviously, because it kind of resembles a piñata. Once you manage to do this 5 times, you'll unlock the achievement Piñata Party. Hang 'em high is pretty much identical to the previous achievement, but instead of using your melee attack, just shoot them with a gun. This makes it 10 times easier, as you haven't got to get close, you can just suspend them in the air and then shoot them. Once you've done this to 30 enemies, the achievement will pop. It's now time to move on to the final 3 achievements of Just Cause 2. These are by far the most annoying achievements of the game. The first of these is Bridge Limbo. You just have to fly under 30 unique bridges in Panau. Unfortunately, there's no way to track the ones that you've done and the ones that you haven't. This means that you just have to randomly fly under all of these different bridges. The difficulty here comes from the planes not handling particularly well and some of the bridges being a bit tricky to get under. Thankfully, there is a lot of bridges, so if you try one a couple of times and can't get through, just go somewhere else. Eventually, through trial and error, you'll eventually fly under 30 bridges and get the achievement Bridge Limbo. Now is the worst achievement in this game, in my opinion. This is Wrecking Ball. To get this achievement, you have to kill 5 enemies by smashing them with an object tethered to your vehicle with the grappling hook. This sounds easy enough, but it really isn't. The vehicles handle awful in Just Cause 2, and the tethers don't really do what you want them to and sort of have a mind of their own. Alongside this, the enemies just sort of run around and also blow up your vehicle very, very quickly. The way that I found is easiest to do this is find a military airport, park a helicopter in front of the jet that's leaving, tether it to the helicopter, and then dunk it in some water. It doesn't always work, but if you do it enough times and get the 5 kills, you'll unlock the achievement. The final achievement that I had left in Just Cause 2 is another grindy achievement. This is Trying Anything Once. For this, you just have to drive every single vehicle in the game. There are 104 vehicles throughout Just Cause 2, and some of them don't have designated spawn areas. You can look on Google and work out roughly where they are, but some of them don't spawn very often. This means that you do find yourself loading in and loading out of areas and just fast travelling around the map. If up to this point you've driven more than I have, the chances are there's not that many to collect and just the odd one here and there, but for me, I had to collect a lot of these. It probably took me about an hour and a half of just going to place, just driving vehicles to get this up. Eventually though, I got the achievement, and that was the final achievement of Just Cause 2. Just Cause 2 is a game that I've played over and over again in the many years that it's been out. It's not something that I ever tried to finish though, I just sort of, when I got bored, flew around, blew a load of shit up and just went from place to place exploring. Now having actually played the story, I don't think if I was to ever come back I'd bother with it. It's not the most amazing story in the world, and the fun definitely comes from the destruction of the places that you can visit. That being said, it does get a little bit repetitive, and some of the sort of elements of this game are a bit annoying. But if you're just going to turn on a game for 20 minutes, an hour, whatever, just to have a little bit of fun, Just Cause 2 is the perfect game for that. I'm pretty sure I bought it on Steam at one point when it was on sale for like 99p, so if you can get it for super cheap, I don't see why you wouldn't want to play it. If you've made it to this point in the video, I really appreciate it, and if you've got any recommendations on how to improve these videos, please let me know. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button as it goes a massive way, and a like and a comment also are really great. See you in the next video.